So for my research paper, I focused on Franklin D. Roosevelt and his New Deal and whether the New Deal actually prolonged the Great Depression. And Franklin Roosevelt was the president during the Great Depression. So the New Deal had two pillars. One was relief and the other one was recovery. I focused on recovery in my research paper, but it was the relief is why FDR is known to be such a great president continuously. The relief programs were put in place for immediate action for the people. Some of the things FDR put in place was Social Security and the Works Progress Administration and the Civilian Conservation Corps. The WPA and the CCC were jobs given by the government to employ people. The WPA employed people to build infrastructures while the CCC employed people to build parks, and they employed 4.3 million people each month. So the next are the recovery strategies for the economy. FDR thought that to bring the country out of the Great Depression, we needed to higher wages. So these are three ways FDR thought that it would help the economy. First is the National Industrial Recovery Act. FDR implemented the NRA and decided the prices of all products. FDR wanted to eliminate competition because he thought competition resulted in workers getting paid less because businesses were constantly trying to drive their prices down. So instead, he just told everyone what things cost. However, as you can see in the graph, when prices go up, less people buy, causing businesses to make less money, and this resulted in having to fire people. This also hurt small businesses who survive on driving prices down. On the top is the Blue Eagle, and businesses were supposed to hang this in their window to show their support, and customers were encouraged to only shop in these places. On the bottom right is a case that went to the Supreme Court, eventually ruling that NRA was unconstitutional. Basically, since everything was the same price, you could only charge one price for chickens no matter the size. So to eliminate unfair prices, they had customers reach their hand blindly into a box and pick their chicken, and this just shows how absurd FDR's policies went. Next is the Agriculture Administration Act. FDR saw farmers were struggling very much and wanted to help them, so he implemented the AAA. FDR thought the only way for farmers to make more money was by increasing the price of food, so to do so, he paid farmers to burn their crops so there would be less of a supply, and this was ridiculous because there were so many people starving in the Great Depression, and he was paying farmers to burn crops. Another thing he did was cut the supply of livestock. So in the picture on the bottom right corner, pigs were getting shot and then buried without doing anything with their meat. And while this helped some farmers, it hurt a lot more because FDR would only pay the big farmers, and this led to smaller farms struggling even more. Lastly is the Wagner Act. The Wagner Act made unions legal for all businesses. Unions are made for workers so they get paid fairly. So as soon as FDR legalized unions for all businesses, the number of unions increased significantly as shown in the graph. As soon as the workers got unions, they would go on strike and demand higher wages. And this hurt businesses because the workers were protected under this union and they could not fire or replace these workers. So businesses would have to increase their wages so the workers would continue working. This did more harm than good for the overall working class because businesses found ways to replace workers with machinery and would not hire as many people, resulting in more unemployment. And also unions were huge in the railroad industry. And when workers would go on strike, it would slow down the entire country, hurting all types of businesses and the economy. In conclusion, I believe that the recovery strategies FDR put in place did prolong the Great Depression. This is a graph of unemployment, and even though the unemployment went down, this was the WPA and the CCC, which were short-term solutions. And also, unemployment did not get under 10% for 10 years, and sometimes even increased throughout his presidency. Another thing is this is a book I read, and it showed that it is still being debated whether the New Deal was a good thing. And this is a cartoon from the Great Depression showing someone with the New Deal as a present going to returns. And this just shows that even back in the 1930s, people were starting to wonder if the New Deal was a good thing. And that is it. So thank you.